Good morning. Good morning. So, yeah, um, I feel mightily happy and awake today. Got a lot of things going as usual. And last night, I mean, it was kind of a cool day. It was very just uneventful and not much going on yesterday, but I just like the fact that I fall asleep, like seriously fall asleep right at 9. I start seeing my body, just like 'cause I'm up at 5. Well, I'm up at around 6 this morning. And last night when I'm reading, some of the comments that are out there, and I'm reading some of you guys that write a long comment, and at the end of the day, just so you know, when the best time to write to me to where you want an answer. And if you're going to write to me towards the end of the day and you see them online, try to keep the comments short because I'm going through and I'm hanging out with my husband, trying to do two things at once, and I'm trying to read your comment, and it's so long, and I might misinterpret it or something, and then react from that. So just as a fair warning to all of you, in the mornings you can have a long comments as much as you want. That's great. At night, if you're gonna write something, keep it like to 2 second soundbite type things, okay? Because towards the end of the day, it's a lot to process just because of just all the activity during the day. So, anyways, I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. So if I misread any comments towards the end of the day, it's because I'm tired. Okay. So what I'm probably going to do right now after I go over this real quick is go through my timeline real quick, just because there's certain things that I didn't pick up or look at or really talk to you guys about. And it's good just to kind of get a refresher too. But also there's some certain terms on there that I want you guys to be aware of. But yeah, when I'm thinking about algebra, because we did algebra back in college and high school, and I never really did algebra at all during the high school because I left high school around ninth grade. So I got a GED instead. So there's no algebra in GED. So when I did the college math over at City College, and then I did all the different universities all over the place in California. Good morning, Liza. I I did do algebra. I did elementary, and then I did like algebra 2, and I think I tried to do a little bit of geometry, but I said, you know what? I don't need it. So I just did statistics, which was basically, it was just for organizational development over at Chapman when I went to my adult classes. So I just was like, I don't see where the hell I'm going to use algebra. Where the hell am I going to use it? And algebra is used all over, just in different ways. So I'm looking at algebra problems, and you have, what you do the one side, the equal sign, you do the other. And that's always been my mantra, like as above, so below, which people say that's satanic, but no, it's the same thing as algebra. As above, so below. But then what you do on one side of the equal sign, you do the other side. And let's just say, for an example real quick, because I'm going to bring it to the vaccines in a minute. But 15, so you take this formula, 15 equals 13. Okay, well, we know 15 doesn't equal 13 really. Good morning, Audrey, because there's more little check marks. There's 15 more than 13. 15 is like 13, 14, yeah, 2 more than 13. So what does actually 15 mean, and what does 13 actually mean? So they have to represent something, okay? They're both equal because they represent a person. One is 15 and one is 13. If 15 means that a person is the ultimate health, and 13 means the person isn't, they're like 2 points away from ultimate health, then what does a 13, the one on one side, do to make it equal to 15? Or vice versa, what does the 15 have to do to make it not equal, or make it less than 15 to make it 13? Okay, and it's kind of a weird analogy, but you're trying to make them completely equal. And what is it going to take? What formula is it going to take to represent that they actually equal technically each other? Okay, so they are equal, but there is a formula to actually make them completely equal. And so I know at the end, I guess when you actually do what you do the one side, the equal side, you do the other, there's an actual one singular number, but that's not really what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that these numbers can represent anything. And it's how you look at the numbers and what they actually represent. So let's take someone, a human body and vaccines, and a human body, and then what the media deems as healthy. So when you are bringing in somebody that's super mutated, okay, like a baby or an adult, let's say like that congressman that allegedly died from the vaccine. When you're bringing in somebody that's already completely mutated, it doesn't matter if it's the measles or if it's a flu shot or if it's something else. That extra vaccine, as well as the sickness. So it's not even just the vaccine, it's also the sickness. If you're exposed to somebody that causes you to then build antibodies, that antibody will be the difference between life and death for some people. So, as well as the vaccine or the sickness, one of the both, one or both. So I remember some of you guys are, not worried about the whole measles, right? Because people are talking about how people are dying from the measles. There's all these outbreaks, and you see, I fucking love science, and CNN and HuffPost are covering like, oh God, the measles outbreaks, and there's 24 strains of measles, right? So not everyone's gonna get all 24 strains. So yeah, there's gonna be an outbreak, and I'm like, you know what? Get a titer test, you guys. If you all want to bypass the vaccine so you don't get another freaking strain of the measles, go get a titer test. And if you happen to come upon somebody in passing in the future, then yeah, you'll deal with it, and you'll know that it's a new strain of measles out there. Someone's playing experimentation out there in the population, and you'll deal with it. But there's no point in getting a vaccine when it's not even going to cover probably all 24 strains, because they're not going to give you all 24 strains of measles. That's too many antibodies for even one person. And so I said, hey guys, get a titer test, because they're probably not going to have all 24 strains as a requirement for every single person. They just want you to see to have one strain, at least one strain. So getting a titer test, most likely you've been exposed. Either your mother has taken the measles shot when she was born or in her childhood, and then yeah, she would be anti-vax, but you got the measles because, and then she passed down that immunity to you, so then now you have the antibody. Or you just got the measles as a kid because somebody in your classroom had it, okay? So, but then someone's like, well, the measles isn't deadly. The measles isn't horrible. That's not. I mean, yeah, it can be. Yeah, it can be, because we're dealing with we're dealing with malnourished people. So you could take two people, and one has a lot of mutations, but you don't know it. So you take two people, they look equal to you to the naked eye. But then when you look underneath the skin and in their blood cells and everything, one is 15 and one is 13. Let's take it back to my little formula over there. One person is 15, they have 15 antibodies, let's just say, for example, and the other one has 13 antibodies. And if and let's say that if you have 15 antibodies and that's your max, getting a sickness or getting a vaccine is going to then kill you off. But the person that has 13 antibodies can afford the vaccine. So just because you look at two people, they're not equal. Underneath, they're not equal, because one has a lot more mutations than the other. Okay, so there is a formula that will make them equal as far as life. Right now, even at 15 and 13, they're not equal as far as how fast the trajectory, because one that has 15 more antibodies than the other one is on faster to that death trajectory. Okay, so looking at two people getting a vaccine or getting a sickness, you can't predict what's going to happen. So that's why it doesn't matter if it's a vaccine or the sickness. If you're already super mutated, you could potentially die from the measles. And since we know people are coming into this world super mutated, we know that the vaccine schedules are super heavy. And we know that parents are being exposed to certain things in the environment, and they're taking in more natural killer cells. So they're already chipping away at their vital organs. Yeah, the sickness or the vaccine or the 5G or the chemtrails, yes, will be a difference between life and death for a lot of people. And that's because equally, everyone that's not on jelly juice is malnourished. Okay, is malnourished. So, yeah. So anyways, so yes, the measles, some people are right in HuffPost. And I fucking love science. Some people are right. People that don't get the vaccine could die. And then some people that do get the vaccine could die as well. That's what the IFL Science and all those different CNN and HuffPost, that's what they fail to say. That's what they fail to establish, is that it doesn't matter how you get the disease. Yeah, it could be a weak antibody, or it could be a weak disease, but it still has to build up antibodies. That's the whole point, is antibody buildup. Not everybody can afford to take on more antibodies before a mutation, an obvious, visible mutation happens. What the difference is now is recovering from that mutation. And not everybody is recovering from that mutation. So guess what? Now they have a weakness somewhere in their body, and they're compounding that weakness with their lifestyle and their belief system and allopathic holistic stuff. And so every single antibody they come across because of their practices will weaken and chip away at those vital organs until one day, yeah, all of a sudden she's like, oh wow, it just came out of nowhere. She passed away. Oh no, it's been working for a while. You just weren't aware of it. So anyways, I'm going to just go through my timeline really quickly. All right. So I said, if people don't know what you're working with, and if you don't know what kind of mutations you sustain to your vital organs, getting the disease naturally, natural immunity, or even through breast milk, just so you know, pathogenic mothers, it could, getting the disease or the vaccine can be deadly or detrimental to the body today and in the future. What's the future? All those antibodies you're sustaining, even in the general population, those are backdoor triggers that one day will come to surface. So just not getting the vaccine or getting the vaccine could be detrimental. What's going to be helpful to everybody is strategic nutrition and not going vegan and vegetarian, okay? Don't let that be something that people are trying to get you to, because they're like, oh, don't take the vaccine. All right, so titer tests from requestatest.com. They test for everything. They test for blood type. They test for every single disease known to man. They test for everything. This requestatest.com, and it's a little pricey for specific, but hey, $100, $200 for a report on your what's going on in the insides is worth gold. So you know what you're working with. Not to scare you, but to let you know that, okay, you need to be doing the J juice, because now you see your future. One of these positives are going to be rearing up its ugly head down in the future somewhere, and you won't know when. Do you really want to wait and roll the dice and see if that person you were around tipped the scales and put you into some kind of emergency? Or do you want to go in and be proactive and deal with it, right? That's what all these different cancer, disease, and chronic illnesses is, all these different antibodies in your body that come to surface. And then, yes, they glom on to people who have already yeast infections or candida, and that's why you have certain cancers. So when they're saying, oh, Judy Mikovits she found out they were putting cancer virus in the vaccines. There's viruses in the vaccines. Cancer is just yeast overfed. That's what cancer is. There's no a virus is a virus. A cancerous virus is a virus that gloms onto a yeast that has been overfed. That's what cancer is. It's yeast. It's not something you can put yeast cancers in a person's body, but if it's not their yeast, then it would be a foreign object that would create an antibody. But it would, create an antibody. If it's a new pathogen to create an antibody, and then you sustain a mutation. But it's no different than any vaccine out there, whether it's a green vaccine. You're still getting the pathogens. So don't let the Judy Mikovits type people and say, oh yeah, the corrupt vaccines. No, vaccines can't be corrupted because they're already inherently corrupt. There is no such thing as a GMO vaccine versus a green vaccine. They're both pathogenic by nature. Okay? And when you are taking on too many antibodies, it doesn't matter if you're trying to kill your cancer, because guess what? The cancer cures that are out there, they're not J-juice. They could tip the scales to your friends or your family. So if your friends or family have a weak heart or a weak liver or a weak brain, and you're trying to fight the cancer with nothing, with everything but jelly juice, yeah, you're potentially killing off your friend and family. So just be warned, those of you that are like, oh, I got to find another cancer cure, because yeah, you're gonna destroy your friends and family, because the things that you're taking are inherently pathogenic, and they induce hormones as well as natural killer cells, and that could be the difference between life and death. J juice is probiotic. It is not antibiotic. No antibodies get created from J juice. Just so you know, you're dealing with probiotic, but in the right context, not the sugar probiotic bullshit in the apple cider vinegar or the fermented fruits like kombuchas. So then this is the thing I saw, like 114-year-old man revealed his secret, 5 foods for long life. This guy is an herbologist, 114 years old. Well, you see that Charlotte Gerson died at 96. Okay, and this guy's 114. Maybe we need to look at what life is. 114, 96 is a drop in the bucket compared to what the potential you have as a human. Okay? So what they're actually saying is his secret the reason why he's dying even at 114? 114 is still too young to die, and he looks like he's 114. If somebody was 114 and they look like they were 30, you know that they were doing the right kind of protocol, because guess what? They're doing cell regeneration. Guess what? And that, yeah, the eventuality, the outcome, the consequence is the story that we all hear about, living forever, immortality. But you can't really quantify immortality. You can't quantify living forever, but you can quantify working in the right context with the right nutrients, with the right elements, and understanding the laws, not violating them. So this 114-year-old man is given the secrets of what causes people to die. See, it's in plain sight. The reason why is because you can look at everything in 2 different ways relative to your intention and expectation. So if you think 114 is miraculous that someone lives and that's amazing, then you're going to think everything that he's doing is miraculous and amazing. But maybe he came into this world with not as many NK cells and mutations as somebody else. Somebody else trying to do this diet that he's doing is going to kill them because they have too many mutations. So this is a bunch of hogwash. This is from thehardysoul.com. Some of these website magazines are full of shit. All right, and then here's this post that I posted about this group, because reptilian and UFOs and conspiracies has content that goes against our community standards on hate. So the group has been disabled. So there are groups that actually have been disabled. There are groups that actually preach hate, and they do preach intolerance. They preach a lot of conspiracy stuff, and conspiracy stuff / reptilian agenda, all of that, then start targeting certain people that they think are reptilian, or that they think are less than or subhuman. Because that's another imbalance in our society from stories that have been created by people who have issues or are trying to get them into the conspiracy world. And maybe the outcome or maybe the intention was to get them in the holistic world. I don't know what the intention behind the whole reptilian conspiracy is, but it really turned some people into some wackadoos, and I was one of them. Okay, so I know for sure what the deal is. So anyways, and it really just, yeah, it has people so distracted that they're not taking care of themselves or their family or their friends. So I said, my group has never been shut down for hate or violating community standards. I kicked everybody out of my 60,000 person group because it was troll central. Too much distraction. So jillyjuice.com has an anonymous discussion forum so you won't have to endure attacks. And then, of course, your proof of purchase of my book is your ticket in. So anyone that says that I speak hate is just another person that likes to tell lies all over the internet. Okay, because there is nothing hateful about my information. I may have been clumsy in rolling out certain distinctions around mutations And some of these mutations have been politicized, and that's where some people have taken it and run with it, and Dr. Phil definitely capitalized on that. So I still have to deal with the Dr. Phil fallout, but that's okay, because that shows everybody where I was before and then where I am today. And then you can see exactly what you would have to go through in your world in the areas that you're going to be changing in. And yeah, you're not going to be always so tactful and diplomatic during your healing process. But maybe you might learn from me and be quiet until you start getting yourself relatively equal, on equilibrium, to where you're not speaking out of your ass too much or coming from adrenaline because your biochemistry is all out of whack. But you saw my growth process all over the internet, and that's fine. I'm proud of my growth process. We all make mistakes when we grow up, okay? So here we go. If you're still defending the holistic industry, Reiki or massage, no need to comment, not up for debate. Promote JJ with HRT, and that is hormone replacement therapy. Hormone replacement, inducement, enhancement therapy, because that's all the holistic and the allopathic is. It's hormone replacement, inducement, and enhancement. And then they use cancer and all the different diseases as a way to get to you to say, oh yeah, well here, we'll create a test, a computer model to create a test to where you can test your cancer numbers. And they'll just throw hormones at you and natural killer cells. And then you're like, oh yeah, my cancer numbers are down. Oh my God, I've seen God. Everything is wonderful, as they're dying from other diseases because you're so happy about your cancer numbers being down. But yes, cancer is something that does take you down fast, but not everybody can afford to take on the natural killer cells. So if you're taking on natural killer cells at already a weak body, thinking that this cure is going to be the difference of life and death, run from the cure. Rick Simpson was right. Run from his cure too, because his cure creates natural killer cells. THC antibodies, the way he does it, and I read actually his website or his Facebook page, the Phoenix Tears, or his, and he's talking about, watch out for knockoffs, watch out for the CBD oil people. I have an actual recipe, no different than what I'm doing, but it's a different context. He has an actual recipe that has a higher THC content. That ought to scare the shit out of you. Because look at Rick Simpson. He can't even really go out and be on the circuit anymore because his body is degrading. Run from his cure. Run from all the cures that are out there. He is telling you run from the cure, which means his cure as well. Okay, because his cure is dealing with antibodies. That's what cures are. They are antibiotic. Cure equals antibiotic. Jelly juice is probiotic. It cannot be deemed as a cure. Totally just remember that. Oh, here we go. Allopathic holistic politics. Holistic politics. Try to find the enemy of the day and then ram that enemy down your throat and demonize it. Do political action committees, petitions, fluoride or mercury or jelly juice, or some continent. Let's say Saudi Arabia or some other continent. Some politicians want to demonize. These elements, people aren't inherently bad. Some people may be mutated. So every single group out there that the industry, that the politicians want to demonize, has somebody that is mutated that's doing stupid shit, and then make that a representation of the whole race or the whole continent or the whole gender as a whole, okay? When they're focusing on fluoride, and you know about the fluoride stuff, they're focusing on mercury, they're focusing on all these different elements that your body actually does need in trace amounts. They are wanting you to look left when you should be looking right, left, and center. It's more distraction. When you're so worried about cancer, when you're so worried about fluoride and you're worried about cancer, and then make all these tests that are surrounding fluoride and cancer, you think that because you're drinking distilled water, which I fell into it too, you think that you're that you're getting your cancer numbers down with all these NK cells is the end all be all. Those are the IB cancer crowds. Those are, the fluoride, oh my God, the conspiracy crowd. That's probably where the conspiracy crowd came from, is the holistic world. Trying to scare you from fluoride, scare you from mercury, scare you from aluminum, and you need trace amounts. You don't need a freaking shiz ton like what's in bentonite clay and diatomaceous earth, because that's all aluminum silicate or zeolite. So run from all the cures, you guys, because those cures are actually detrimental to your body. And jelly juice is not a cure. It's probiotic with the right pairing with the right elements. All right. And then, okay, there's that. Then the Charlotte Gerson, she's dead according to Aaron Health News. Yes, and she is dead. And she died from her own belief system. Here we go. So some people are passing around that, oh, honey is so great. Honey is antibiotic. It's bee puke. It's pure sugar for one, and it's antibiotic for another. That's why you don't give it to babies before a certain time. You shouldn't give it to babies at all because it feeds cancer. So when you're giving pure sugar to your body, you're feeding the yeast that will then eventually turn into candida. Everybody right now has an imbalance in their candida. Everybody that's not doing J juice has candida. Everyone that's not doing J juice, and that's cancer, but just different levels. Okay, I don't want to scare everything like, oh my God, you have cancer. But you have candida. You have yeast. It's been overfed. And that's why when you're aging, you have an imbalance in your candida, in your yeast. You have an imbalance in your hormones, and you have an imbalance in your NK cells. So why would the hell would you give your kid elderberry syrup or honey? It's freaking antibiotic. But yeah, they use it in the beauty industry because people have surface candida fungus. And since it's antibiotic, yeah, it kills the fungus, drives everything back in for one, and it creates more natural killer cells. So why the hell would you put Manuka honey all over your body when you have eczema or psoriasis? It's just another antibiotic dressed up in another form. That's how you're getting snowed, is because you're looking at all these different names and different substances, but they're all the same stuff. Just because it's in a honey form, not in some lab form, doesn't mean it's better for you. So I said you cannot grow antibiotics and probiotics and JJ together. Now, there is a line of demarcation. When you have air in your bottle, let's say, because you do want to have like, what, an inch from the top when you're doing J juice, or less than that. And my stuff hasn't overflowed at all. Because what makes it overflow is when you have so much of the cabbage, which is okay. Some people do that, but what happens is it expands. So when the chemical process happens, the cabbage and the lactobacillus and all that expands. And so yes, then leakage happens because it overflows. So then you get air also. So you're getting stuff that's above the brine, such as the cabbage. Well, yeah, when it hits the air, it's not inherently, it's not bad. Okay. It's like yeast, but then sometimes you may see some green mold on it. Well, I've actually taken that green mold and mixed it into my juice. And then guess what? All of the lactobacillus kills all the pathogens. It overwhelms it, as well as the salt. So yeah, you can grow antibiotics and probiotics together, but they can't, if they mix, the lactobacillus is that pathogen's mortal enemy. If there was hardly any of the J juice, if you only had the sauerkraut, but hardly any juice, then yeah, it would be very difficult. I mean, I think if there's enough lactobacillus, it could kill it, but it would change the taste. But the lactobacillus kills all pathogens that are pathogenic to the body, because it's all about the body relative to the body. So you can't, below the brine, you cannot grow anything antibiotic. It's impossible. Probiotics cannot grow antibiotics. Antibiotics can grow out there because those are all poisons. Okay, so when you go out in your garden, don't be eating shit out of your garden. You don't even know what the hell it is. If it's cabbage, fine, but don't be eating weeds or these wild onions because those are all antibiotic. They're pathogenic. Okay, so 3 things that destroy you, keeps you alive: antibodies, yeast, and hormones. Cancer is a symptom of a larger issue being ignored. Sugar imbalance, heavy metal imbalance, and a hormonal imbalance. Too many antibodies attack good tissues. Too many hormones brought up because of the above mentioned is imbalance will cause an imbalance and eventually death. And then eventually you'll be destroyed. Someone was in the hospital. This is a video I did yesterday. Someone in the hospital for low salt dehydration. Yeah, people who are afraid of the salt, they're going to try to avoid salt, they're going to fuck themselves. So whatever. People who are totally salt fearmongers are going to fuck themselves and their friends and family. But whatever, they don't care. Or they say they do. but they don't want to get my book, so really they don't care. So anyways, if someone dies on contact in Ireland, we fight. If not, we counter the homeostasis interruptions. Even in trees, we will adapt. Jilly juice. And that's about the 5G. They just rolled it out in Ireland. If everybody dies in Ireland, then okay, we have room to fight. But if not, just do the J juice and counter. And then adapt. Your body can adapt to changing conditions. Trees can adapt to changing conditions. You know, yeah, if you go and do a nuclear bomb on some area, yeah, it's going to decimate that area for a certain amount of time. But guess what? Chernobyl is coming back. It may take years for some places to come back, but they do come back because the sun is a constant. We have constants in our universe. And then we have changing conditions based upon what elements get kicked up at whatever given time. And that also happens in the body as well. But if you're not aware of the positive elements and aware of the laws of your immune system and the laws of your body, then yeah, you're going to screw yourself because you're so fearful and you want to listen to doctors. And you're like, oh, I don't want to buy your book because I'm not going to spend money on it because I give a free website. Whoop-de-doo. Anyways, antibody creating protocols chip away at the weaknesses in your vital organs. Jilly juice is not antibiotic. All right. So what people don't realize is the methods used to fight cancer is also contributes to the overall death process. Antibody accumulation has been largely overlooked, maybe accidentally or maybe intentionally. The more antibodies you accumulate, the more hormones get induced, causing hormonal imbalances, and then yeah, eventual death. So yeah, the difference between JJ and cures in the matrix, you may not survive the cures in the matrix. Cures in the matrix create antibodies. Jilly juice is not a cure. No antibodies get created from cabbage, water, and salt. Because what they do is they bring up the mutations. They bring up the antibodies already been established because of your practices. And then they go and fix the mutations and then keep those antibodies at bay. It gets diluted with the juice. So if you do a titer test and you see that you have heavy antibodies in MMR, it means that you're contagious. You have inflammation if you have a high amount of white blood cells or antibodies. That's called inflammation. That's called contagious. It's called infection, all of that. So in my book, I have a testimony with the details of this particular woman who claims she beat lung cancer with JJ. Oh yeah, now she's saying, okay, it's not enough about cancer because she's sliding back. She's trying to quit smoking, but she's thinking that, oh yeah, I beat cancer means that, you know, that she can still smoke. But she wants to quit smoking, but for her to quit smoking, she has to up the intake. So yeah, you beat cancer, but now you got to take it to the next level. Because just beating cancer ain't enough. That's just one little layer that most people overlook. Yeah, that one little layer can be the death of you relative to how fast or slow that cancer is. But that's not the only thing that you should be focusing on, because the cancer is just one of the spectrum of mutations that your body is dealing with. So my videos do talk about the 3 things that people die from on YouTube and Facebook Live: cancer, overabundance of antibodies, and hormonal imbalances. And people that are using hormones to try to beat cancer, they're using antibodies to try to beat cancer. But what they realize when they do that, it actually creates more backdoor triggers and more imbalances. So beating cancer really is not really that revolutionary anymore, because now they got other issues they got to deal with because of those cures. So, but JJ has the ability to address all the above, 3 simultaneously, and JJ is not a cure. JJ just doesn't beat only cancer. Cancer is just a red flag of a bigger issue people aren't addressing: hormonal imbalances and overabundance of NK cells. Dismiss my alarm clock. So anyways, go to my website. My mod Lily will send you info on how to get the book and everything else to get into my discussion forum. And then yeah, when you have foreign objects in your body, whatever they are, it's not going to purge them right away. The body will figure out what is priority, and then over time, some of your easily expelled foreign objects will be taken care of, and others will have cartilage or other things that will wrap around it to take it away from the business processes. So somebody's teeth have begun to purge old fillings. I'm still waiting for mine to get purged. Maybe one day. And tattoos are an addiction because it does bring up different hormones. And if you do get a layer of white film that is in like is in a nice organized form that's like looks like a little cap on top of your juice, yeah, that is lactobacillus. Eat it, drink it. It's amazing. Okay. And there's something else I wanted to go through. So I'm about to go drink some coffee and get ready because I got to go to an appointment pretty soon. But that's right, biomolecular engineering. Just so you understand words and terms, biomolecular, biology, molecules. So the your body's molecules are being engineered by people at Yale. Just so you know, academia, high level colleges like Yale and Harvard, they do experiments. UCSF, all these medical universities, they do experiments on you and your family. So if you're in hospice or you're in palliative care or you're taking part in the system, you are actively being experimented on. I hope you understand that they're doing engineering on your biomolecular design. So when you look at good and bad relationships, there are chemical reactions in association with biochemistry with an entertaining story. Biomolecules are also equal to hormones. Okay, and I did put a Wikipedia thing. Now, hey, Wikipedia, they have their own resources. Yes, people can go and modify it, but it gives you an idea. And you're not going to be savvy enough and discerning enough to know what is sort of bullshit and what has to be updated. But it gives you an idea of what the hell some of these words are. So don't even at all try to fault me for using Wikipedia. Even though I can't use Wikipedia with Lulu, my publisher, which is fine, I like to use it as just an overall, here's an overall bird's eye view of this information. As far as the finer details, you may get better details with more updated versions somewhere else. But at least it gives you a jumping off point. All right? So biomolecules are everything that's within the body, your biochemistry, and that is hormones. That's your spirit, just so you guys know, for those of you who are into the body, mind, and spirit type of stuff. And they do say type of biomolecules, the type of biochemistry is lipids, fatty acids, glycolipids, sterols, monosaccharides, those are sugars. Then we have the vitamins, which are hormones, and neurotransmitters, and metabolites, and then monomers and oligomers and polymers. So you're seeing that even that, negative heavy metals are also part of your biochemistry. Epigenetics is biotechnology. Okay? The whole ligand. In biochemistry and pharmacology, ligand is a substance that forms a complex with a biomolecule to serve a biological purpose. In protein ligand binding, the ligand is usually a molecule which produces a signal by binding to a site on a target protein. This is where epigenetics comes in. This is DNA methylation. This is what causes all of your mutations, y'all. The binding typically results in change of conformational isomerism, conformation of the target protein. In DNA ligand binding studies, the ligand can be a small molecule, ion, or protein, which binds to the DNA double helix. This is epigenetics, y'all. The relationship between ligand and binding partner is a function of charge, hydrophobicity, and molecular structure. The instance of binding occurs over an infinitesimal range of time and space, so the rate constant is usually a very small number. Binding occurs by intermolecular forces such as ionic bonds, hydrogen bonds, and van der Waals forces. The association of docking is actually reversible through dissociation. See, so you can dock something and then you can also take it away. Measurably irreversible covalent bonding between ligand and target molecule is atypical in biological systems. Measurable irreversible covalent bonding between ligand and target is atypical. So everything can be reversed is what they're saying. Okay? In contrast to the definition of ligand in metallurganic and inorganic chemistry, in biochemistry it is ambiguous when the ligand generally binds at a metal site, as is in the case of hemoglobin. So when I post some of these things, you guys need to read to understand that all of your situations can be reversed, but You can't be using the stuff that they're recommending. You can't, because it's going to fuck you. It really is. And I know I keep saying swear words. I'm sorry. So using cannabis antibodies to cure a symptom is making a deal with the devil. The root cause is not addressed, and the devil will take his due. Antibody accumulation induces hormones, and death comes faster, and it is absolute. Life is not about using shortcuts and making deals. Life can be absolute and indefinite. However, laws must be followed. All right, I submit relationships, and then I did the slides. Okay, so I wanted to cover the whole thing with the different vocabulary words, the biomolecular engineering and ligand bonding and the epigenetics and biotechnology, because for some reason, me being adopted for one, being raised in a family of psychotherapists with a law degree, and my dad working in biotech. He wasn't anything majorly prominent, but he worked at a lot of different companies in Northern California, and he was good at what he did. He raised us. They made sure that we wanted for nothing. We had a good life. But then things went awry because of my hormones, and when you have hormones, everything goes kind of cattywampus. So I did my own thing for later on. But whatever, that just what happens. Okay, so there's something to be said for me being raised in that, and that was like the perfect storm of a background. And then the people that I met along the way was just more data for me to gather. So who's to say that what our purpose on earth isn't already planned out somewhere? Who knows? We don't know. We have free will, but do we? There's a reason why you guys have been connected to me in some way, even though I get triggered by some of you because you don't want to buy my book and and you have a free website and da da da. But really, inherently, I do want to make sure that you guys are all okay, that you guys have all of the data so you can make the best choices. Yes, I'm going to trigger some of your religions. Some of you are very, very religious, and you like to drop scripture everywhere, and I get annoyed by that. But we all are on the same page. We all want to live indefinitely. We don't want to suffer. Even if you don't believe in life forever, it can't be quantified anyways. We have past that we can go and learn from, but we have no idea what the future holds. So whatever you do today is going to be your future. And if today that you believe that cannabis is the way to be, then you see what you're going to be in for from the past. Look around you. Everyone that's practicing cannabis, they're on a major death trajectory, and some are going to be going out faster than others because they have major mutations. So you have a lot of data in front of you. Use it. Don't ignore it. Don't try to fight against it. Don't say, oh, I don't want to live the living forever bullshit, immortality, because guess what? That life is a consequence. Immortality is a consequence if you are following the laws. If you're following the laws of your society, then no one, and if you're following the law, if you're drinking water, and that's a law, then you will live. If you drink water every day, at some point, you're not gonna die. But if you stop drinking water, guess what? You die. If you stop drinking water, if you stop giving your dog water, guess what? Your dog dies. There's some pretty absolutes out there. So, living forever isn't out of the freaking question. Just focusing on cancer isn't the only way to do that, because if you just focus on cancer, you will die from the other diseases because you've taken on more natural killer cells. All right. Have a great day. You guys, go read my book. Don't be lazy. The person that says, I don't want to buy your book and I have a free website is one of those where it says, oh yeah, this stuff should be free. I'm sorry, but how do you pay your fucking bills? How do you live? You're not living out in the middle of nowhere catching the Facebook Wi-Fi to your little device that you created yourself in your backyard. How do you freaking live? Who pays your bills? Are you some sugar baby? Is somebody paying all your bills for you, and that's why you don't want to give anybody any type of donation for their hard work? Are you that parasitic? That's what pisses me off, is those that are so parasitic they don't even know how parasitic they are because of their platform. Oh, all health stuff should be free. Well, then you know what, girl? Get away from our society. Get off of Facebook, because somebody's paying your bills. You obviously are making money for your time. Either you're screwing that old man that is giving you money, or you're working with a profession that you want compensation for. Okay? So I don't care how you make your money. You're obviously being well compensated for your time to email me. You're obviously being well compensated for your time to get on Facebook and listen to my videos every single day. So somebody's paying for your ways to be able to tap into this information. So I don't want to hear about, oh, I have a free website and I'm not going to buy your book. That is parasitic. And those people that think that way will not do this, and they will be on that trajectory. But they probably will do it, and maybe one day they might get a heart and be like, yeah, you know what? She does deserve $15, $19. $19 is freaking nothing, and it could be honest, oh, it's nothing, but it's something. It's called equal exchange of energies. When you work, you expect compensation. Nobody works for free in this world. Doesn't matter if you're out there tilling the gardens. You're working for your food. You do earn your way in this world. Nothing is for free. All right. Bye.